Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Welcome. We are live for another episode of Let Me Talk to You, episode 16 podcast. Of course, my name is Frankie Fresco, and my brother next to me, DiTrapio. What's going on, brother?
What's up, brother? Another day, another blessing.
Absolutely, man. It's always a great experience to be here with you, man. And we wanted to go ahead and first start with some news that we wanted to go ahead and share. Unfortunately, we had the passing of Virgil. He was the wrestling. He was a well-known wrestler in the WWE world and in the wrestling community. We wanted to go ahead and give a shout out, of course, to Mike Jones, known better as Virgil. Virgil, of course, I know him particularly from the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And what's up, Chad? Welcome, sir. Welcome always to the podcast. So shout out to Virgil. May he rest in peace. R.I.P. to Virgil.
R.I.P.
Great wrestler. He was like, I guess he was like Ted DiBiase's kind of like his bodyguard all around. So that's kind of like how I used to see Virgil. I don't know, Nick, do you remember him from the days, the heydays? I know this is probably outside of your time, so I'm not sure if you remember him.
Glances, clips, to be honest with you. I'm not really too aware of him, but hey, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And in this picture, you could see that he's holding the $1 Million Man type of title belt. So obviously,
belt.
he was very well known in the wrestling community. Like I said, I remember him from the WWE world. So shout out to Virgil. Again, R.I.P. to him, and my condolences to his family and to all his friends and to all the wrestling community who knew, of course, Mike Jones. So with that being said, though, let's start off with our breakdown of what's going to be tonight's show. We're definitely going to go ahead and speak about NXT. It wasn't too much to talk about. It was one big thing that opened up last night, which I'm actually excited about. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Dolphins. We're going to go ahead and try. I'm going to see if this works. Hopefully you guys are able to hear it. We're gonna go over the Chris Greer interview, see what they asked him and what we think about it, and we'll kind of break down that video and his answers to some of the questions that the media asked him about, of course, the Miami Dolphins current state and also the future of the Miami Dolphins. Then we're gonna talk a little bit about the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, of course, riding high right now. They've been winning. I mean, I actually thought that they might have pulled a they were gonna pull like a crappy game last night, but hey, man, they made it happen last night after back-to-back wins, which is impressive by them. We'll talk a little bit about Tyler Hero's injury, and then finally we'll end the night with some soccer talk. Of course, we had that big game on Sunday between Miami and LA Galaxy, and obviously Speak the Unspoken. You will definitely see my Speak the Unspoken will be related to soccer. So we'll see what exactly tune in towards the end of the segue of soccer, and you guys will definitely hear what I think and what my rant is gonna be tonight. But thank you so much, you guys, as you walk on into the show. I know we started a little bit late. We were running a little bit late, but so what up, Frankie and Frankie, bro? Let Wilkins walk. We'll get to that. We'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about NXT to start off the show. Of course, Nick, last night NXT had a very interesting interesting individuals show up, ladies and gentlemen. And if you guys know me, of course, you guys know that I am, of course, a big AEW fan. I know AEW has been sucking the last couple of weeks, but that doesn't mean that I don't feel that AEW had or has great talent. And with that being said, one of their talents that recently left is actually finally moved on, and he made his appearance known last night in NXT. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Sean Spears making his debut. Jesus Christ, to NXT. That's the second person that we see leave the AEW world and now has made their way over to NXT.
Ouch.
Of course, Nick, uh, he came and he attacked Rich Holland, which in my case, I thought that was really good that he attacked Rich Holland because I'm not a big fan of Rich Holland, but he made his debut. And let me show you guys. I'm not gonna play the sound because that I don't want to get copyrighted for it, but I definitely want to at least show you the video. And while we're watching the video, we could always get Nick's take of what he thinks about Sean Spears. Again, Nick, I know that you sometimes tune into AEW. What you think about Sean Spears making his official debut in NXT, sir?
Yeah, definitely. This is something new that NXT wants to bring into the team, and having another AEW talent. I'm telling you, AEW is like a farm. They're just farming out these wrestlers and just dishing out to WWE, and WWE is not gonna take no for an opportunity. And so, wow, look at that slam, that impact. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty
he.
cool how they introduced him, and then they put the light on him, and then he's just there. He takes off his hood, and he's like, "What's up, yo?"
Oh
Pretty
man,
badass.
AEW in the
Ah,
building. He's back. He's back. But he originally was in a WWE and then he left to AEW and now he's back. So again, look, you gotta give NXT and the WWE world such good kudos on how they reveal some of these guys. I mean, they did such a great job with the one man, what was his name before? Now I'm running a blank here.
cool.
Uh King,
Lexus King.
Lexus
Yeah,
King. So they did such a great job building him up, and then all of a sudden this comes as a surprise. So now that you got Sean Spears out there, and they actually named him Sean Spears. They said, "Oh, Sean Spears is back." So he's literally going by the same name as he was in AEW, Sean Spears. So he obviously will start the feud with Rich Holland, and like I said, man, the way they're presenting these guys, bro, it just makes you wanna like keep
tune in.
watching it, man. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, like look at this. Now you got Rich Holland there. You had the OC actually made a their debut to the NXT world last week, and they also wrestled. So it's not like they have done a bad job there. It looks, and what you said is actually true. Like, they kind of are farming some of these guys, and then at the same time, like any wrestler that's having a hard time in the main roster, like in SmackDown or on Raw, they're just bringing them over to basically NXT, and they're kind of helping them. And like I said yesterday, the OC, they were looking at they were there and they wrestled, and they started the beef with Chase U. But I mean, it just goes to show you how good NXT has done when it comes to making sure that these wrestlers get the exposure. To bring in Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson again, it's gonna resurrect them. And like I told you last week, they didn't do such a good job in SmackDown, so bringing them now to the NXT world just makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think two words are very important for WWE, and it's pretty much timing and placement. And when you have those two things go hand in hand, the right place, being at the right time, it can create a big pop. It can create great character development, and it can spark up another person's or tag team wrestling, um, pretty much their story, and you would understand more of what they bring into the company. And so I think WWE is capitalizing big time on that.
Absolutely, man. And at the same time, let's also keep in mind that they resurrected kind of. Corbin's career now, so he's doing it, and they're involving him. They're involving Chase U. They're involving the Good Brothers. They're involving all of them to make NXT that story that we enjoy and that we expect, and we're gonna be like invested in, more entertaining. And that's one thing that um, I like about NXT, and I think that's why NXT will keep doing well, compared to the other ones, compared to, of course, the rivalry that they have with
Would you?
obviously
eh,
AEW.
And this is a random question, but do you think MJF should start in NXT?
Well, if obviously I'm assuming Tony Khan saved and made the decision to re-sign him, but if um MJF was eventually his next contract, and again, it's just an assumption because we're not 100% sure if he's
Yes. Still with
actually.
her.
I mean, they haven't confirmed anything, so maybe MJF is still a free agent. We have no idea. But if he by any chance makes it to the WWE world, I'm sorry, bro. You have to bring him to the main roster. Like I think if I was WWE, just to be on the safe side, I would give him a couple of like tune-up matches in the NXT world, like behind the scenes, not on TV or anything like that. Just see what he brings, and then they're gonna evaluate him and see how if he's ready for the main roster. Kind of like what they did with Jay Cargo. But
Hmm.
I think that they would push more MJF because MJF is just a bigger draw. Like I like how can you not bring him over to the main roster and just keep him and dish him in NXT? I think they look what they did with Jay Cargo. They haven't even put her in NXT. They've shown her a couple times, but nothing concrete. It looks like they want to stick her in the one of the main roster. I think she's gonna be in SmackDown, to be honest with you. So like
Yeah.
I think that's what would be the right decision for, of course, MJF. And once he leaves, if he was to leave to the WWE, I think that's when you have to bury on the ground AEW because they would be choking really, really bad if they were to let MJF walk. But you with AEW, you can expect anything. So, and of course, there is the pay per view this weekend. So this Sunday, a Revolution Sting's last match. If you guys want to know what my takes were, you could go ahead and tune into yesterday's show. Me and Sean,
Really
we
good
spoke
show, by
about
the
it.
way. Hmm.
We pretty much broke down every match, and we gave the betting odds and who was going to win and who was going to lose. So shout out to Sean, of course, my road dog right there as well on the Squared Circle Digest podcast. And if you want to find out a little bit more about the WWE, SmackDown, Raw, Roman Reigns, Rock, all that stuff, we spoke about that yesterday. I know Nick, we haven't gotten your take on that, but is there anything you wanted to share with us before we move on to the Dolphins, about The Rock or Roman Reigns or anything like that, or even the Sting's last match this weekend?
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. That Sting match, it's being overwhelmed a little bit by everything else. I think that Sting match there's a lot more going on. Obviously, I gotta agree with Memo. Drew McIntyre's promo on CM Punk has been hilarious, man.
I
And
don't.
just Drew in general, man. Drew right now, I'm riding on that Drew wagon, bro. I really like what he's doing, and overall, you know, WrestleMania and stuff like that. So seeing that being overwhelming for Sting's last match, there's a lot of personal things going on in his life too. So it really sucks that all that is not being put into account. However, it's going to be a memorable match for Sting.
Absolutely, man. And again, I don't know what's the deal with you and Memo and with so many people hating on CM Punk. Look, when CM Punk comes, watch. You will see what he does. He'll make sure that Drew McIntyre doesn't forget who he is. You understand me? He'll make sure that Drew McIntyre never, never in his wildest dreams ever talks crap about CM Punk, bro. So, the best of the world, right there, CM Punk. Wait for him. He'll make sure he'll take care of business. With that being said, let's jump into the Dolphins section. Of course, the Miami Dolphins have some big, big decisions to make in the next couple of weeks, man. I mean, literally right around the corner, we have some important dates that we need to talk about. March 5th is the franchise tag for Christian Wilkins. We got to make a decision. Is he going to be with the team? Is he going to go ahead and test the free market? it's gonna be something that the Dolphins have to kind of make a decision. And I think we spoke about this, right, Nick? We kind of both agreed that they should. I think you wanted him to be resigned. I think I wanted to go ahead and have him get the transitional tag, that which allows us to go ahead and try to match any offer that's out there. And if he walks, then we get two first round picks for him. So
Yeah, my last take on last week was that he doesn't get re-signed. He gets franchise tag, and then we'll figure out next year what he does. If he wants to take it, great. If he doesn't, you're free to really pretty much test the waters. And I still think the Dolphins are gonna let Wilkins test the waters. That's just how Chris Greer works. And I know we're gonna touch base on Mike McDaniel's conference, but you know, he's not really gonna tell you, hey, we're gonna let him test the waters and stuff like that. He's gonna be very political and be like, yeah, we're negotiating and move on forward. But I think the Dolphins are. I wouldn't be surprised if they're thinking of replacing Wilkins, but in the meantime, the goal is to re-sign him. Luckily, the salary cap got raised up a little bit, so that gives us more cushion to work with.
well, then that's the other date that we need to keep in mind. March 13th is the date that we have to make sure that the Miami Dolphins are under the salary cap. That is when the NFL tells you, yo, you have to be not over. You have to be at 0 or better. So Miami has some important decisions to make in order for them to make it under the salary cap. Obviously, we saw Xavier Howard was given his papers, but I believe that's going to be a cut for in the month of June, so that won't kick in to assist with the salary cap. And then obviously the other person that we released was Emmanuel Agba, and that one did help uh, with lowering a little bit down the salary cap. And then you got to see what the Miami Dolphins decide to do. That this is where we want to go ahead and bring in the Miami Dolphins recent interview. So let me see if this works. Hopefully you guys can hear. So let's jump here, right? And let me see if I could share this with you guys. So let me go here, share my screen. Our boy Chris Greer. Can you see it, Nick?
Yeah.
All right. So we have Chris Greer on the bottom. He's our special guest, not just playing. But you got Chris Greer on the bottom, and you got me and you. And okay, now chat, please let me know if you can hear this. If you can hear this, let me know. If you can't hear this, then we're just gonna have to just talk about it. So let's see if you guys can clearly hear this. It's the 23-minute video. I don't know if we're gonna talk all 20, we're gonna listen to it the whole 23 minutes. I don't want to. I know we were gonna show the Mike McDaniel one, but the problem with Mike McDaniel one, that the questions are like that you can barely hear what he's talking, like what they ask him, so it's kind of annoying. But I did put also the if you can't hear, I did put the subtitles on there, so at least you guys will be able to read the subtitles. Okay, I might make it a little bit bigger if that's the case, in order for us to, if we can't hear. But let's see, chat, let me know. Hold on, Josh wrote something here. Let me see what Josh wrote. Josh says it's a joke that Mr. Potato Head is voted by the players as the best owner. Is that a I did find out about that. I
Insane,
did
right?
hear about that, and Chris Greer does talk about that actually. All right, so let's see. Let me see if you guys can hear it. Let me know, chat, if you're able to hear it or not. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
You enjoy that salary cap ball?
Yeah, it was I said Brandon Shore and Max Napolitano do a really good job of, kind of trying to forecast what it'll be over the last few years, and we didn't have it that high, so it was good. But at the end of the day, you can't let that drive your decision. Still, it helps, but you're still it's a player-driven market and stuff. So
Can you hear Nick?
Yeah.
Where does the difference stands between you and Tua's representation during the defense two-stripe line change?
Yeah, we've been in communication since the offseason began. I'm going to talk to his agent here this week. So our goal is to try and see if we can get something done. Ryan's been great, Tua's been great. So we'll see, but there's no timeline on it. At the end of the day, you know how these deals get done. They're complicated deals, and building the team through free agency as well. So we'll work through it and see if we can get something done.
How would you categorize, in terms of just laying the groundwork right now or making progress? Where do you think the top start?
appreciate the question, but I don't never talk about where we are in terms publicly of what we're doing. So we're having discussions, and I'll just leave it at that.
So right there, he was talking about Tua, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had asked him, "Hey, what do you have when it comes to long term?" And kind of gave a pretty much straightforward answer. We're still in the mix.
But you see, I'm actually interested that when he answered that question, he was like, conversations are going, but I didn't get the vibe like, yo, like this is gonna happen, this is our main priority. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I definitely don't see him like making it such a huge what would you say, like a big deal, like saying, hey, oh man, I messed it up. A big deal of like, hey, Tua is our main priority. I don't see that. Did you get that vibe? I didn't get that vibe, to be honest with you.
I think, to be honest with you, there hasn't been any progress, but he doesn't want to pretty much say too much. You know how Chris Greer works, man, and I get it. Sometimes you would want to see your general manager kind of be like, "Yeah, we're definitely gonna get this done," like like some other general managers that have done with their other quarterbacks. But he also has to understand. He wants us to understand that we're pretty over the salary cap, so we just need to make money moves first in order for us to dish out money.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it just didn't sound like with a lot of confidence. But let's see what else he talks about. Let's go.
You mentioned the cap going up 10%. Obviously, like, does that mean quarterback salary going up like 10%? Is there a direct correlation that maybe what Tua would have asked for 12 months ago could be different there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him that or his agents. I think at the end of the day, when those things happen, obviously people get excited and stuff, but you just you try and work through it, and you have the rational discussions with people, and as agents, as representations, are really good people. We've had great conversations. So at the end of the day, what he's looking for in terms of, because the money went up, does that drive his salary up? I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Interesting.
Do you believe that you guys get a deal done this offseason?
I think we're hopeful. Again, when you go through these things, you guys have all been around and you've seen other teams that go through that. These are deals that very rarely come together quickly. There's a lot of pieces, moving parts when you're doing it. So, again, we've had positive discussions so far, and we'll keep working through here throughout the offseason.
What does
Both you and Mike have used the phrase, the Christian has earned the right to be a free agent, which is the same wordage you used in Mike Gesicki last year. That suggests you guys are trying to not.
Good question, by Poop.
No, I think all options are on the table for us. I'm going to meet here with Christian's agent this week. Dave and I have always had good conversations, and but I'm just being very transparent with it. He has earned it. He's had a great season, and so we'll see what happens here as we talk here over the next couple of weeks.
So that was a good question by Poopart, right? You saw that? He was like, you guys basically said the same thing about Mike Gesicki, and then Mike Gesicki walked. So like, if you guys are gonna go ahead and use that same terminology with Christian Wilkins, are you basically giving us the, read between the lines? This guy's gonna walk too, So good question by Poopart. That was a good one. I didn't expect him to go ahead and ask that question, but I think they're like 50-50 with him. I think they're not 100% sure if they're going to be able to get the deal. There's also like reports like left and right saying, hey, yeah, he's going to sign. But there's also in the report saying that the Miami wants to keep him, but there's nothing concrete, to be honest with you, right? Like
I just feel like the Dolphins are willing to throw in a lot more money with the franchise tag. I don't see them re-signing him anytime soon, bro. I just really don't.
My concern with him is we sign him, and then he is not an impact player.
Poo season.
Yeah, he's not an impact player, and it's gonna hurt us because in the long run, his performance was good this year, but was it really good against the hard competition? It wasn't, man. And I know Sealer's there, and Sealer has been a good partner in crime for him, but I don't know, man. I mean, hopefully by there's two ways you get some of these guys. There's either one way where you sign them and then all of a sudden they even become even way better because they're excited that they got paid for it. Or number two, they sign and then, their careers start to diminish a little bit. They start going a little bit downhill. So we could only pray and hope that if Dolphins do decide to keep them, which would be for me, it would be impressive based on the figures that we have. Our numbers man, I mean, especially with the whole cap situation, I don't know how in God's green earth are we going to re-sign this guy. Um,
I just feel like the Dolphins are gonna convince him by saying, "Hey, look, you gave us one really good year. We're gonna pay you one really good year." Obviously, his agent doesn't want to hear stuff like that, but at the end of the day, when the player really likes the organization, which I feel like in this case he really does, because look, he participated on the cancer drive, and so he really didn't need to do all that stuff. So
yeah,
I think small actions like that really mean a lot. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just trying to improve his image too, trying to show that he's a team player, and that would cause other teams to be like, "Hey, look, let's pay this guy because this guy is a real leader."
very good points. All right, let's hear it. Let's keep going.
Chris, what did I guess what's more did you see some Christians doing this year since what was the disadvantage?
No, I think like I had mentioned before, we had conversations and we were close on a deal last off season, and it didn't come together. And so for us, we know what Christian is as types of person and player, what he brings to the organization. So for us, at the end of the day, it's not what he had to do. As as we were talking and trying to build the team and put together a roster of just trying to work together to find something that was fair to him and to us. And at the end of the day, we tried, and the agent acknowledged it was a very fair offer and felt good. And then so we'll see where that takes us this offseason.
But no, that kind of is a double-edged sword, right? Because he says, "Hey, the agent says that it was a fair offer, but yet he didn't resign." Like, so was it really a fair offer?
Not
Or
only that, but if it was really close, wouldn't it already? You kind of already have something concrete, so you kind of already know you don't need the extra steps to really finalize a deal. You were really close last year, so why just not close the books this year immediately? Especially that you value the player. So there's a lot of doubt.
yep.
Concerns, or you believe you have the resources to get a big long-term deal on the tag Christian
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we could.
What does having a quarterback that's not on a rookie deal anymore do as far as affect to the rest of the roster building process?
Yeah, no, I mean I mean, all you guys have seen it around the league. You guys get those guys on the rookie deals that allows you to do things that we've done the last few years to go get guys. Whether it's Tyree, Bradley, et cetera, and also for us moving forward, we have a lot of good young players coming up too. Still, from Jalen Waddle and Phillips. Um, so it's just we have probably 5 or 6 guys too that we're talking to that are going to be guys candidates.
Yeah,
for
out of
possible
like
extension this
23
season or something.
picks.
So does that force you to say, "Oh,
Well, that's another thing. That's kind of like I like the question that Cam asked him, but at the same time, it's like you don't gotta resign him. Like if you really wanna like, it's up to the Dolphins if they feel like Tua's the man. If that's the guy that they want to keep, then yeah, it could hurt us. And eventually, now we're gonna have to deal with the money that we have to pay him. But if you feel that he's not the guy, you let him ride one more year and then you bring somebody else to compete with him and then make it happen and then you pick and choose who's better, right?
Not only that, but this is where you know Greer needs to really make sure he knocks each pick this draft in order to make sure that all the rookies come into play, because we can't be dishing out money like that to bring back quote unquote impactful players like Ramsey and Tyreek and Armstead and
Well,
all
he
those guys.
actually mentioned something about that, so let's see.
hold on a second. We're not in every single thing anymore. We're not able to add Tyreeks like we used to."
Here it is.
Well, it's a challenge, but I think the one thing that Brandon Shore and Max Napolitano done when we talk is we're always looking short term and long term, and so in terms of having some flexibility and how contracts are structured and stuff. So again, yes, every year you can't go make those moves, that
Mhm.
people get excited for help your team just because, I mean, you've seen it around the league. It's not
King
sustainable.
Henry.
At some point you have to reel it back a little bit and then add some youth and influx and then
Mhm.
cherry pick here and there where you go. And so, we've been looking at all different ways in terms of building this and keeping our roster competitive.
Does concussion history play a role in the consideration on Tua in terms of contract length and guarantees?
No, I think for us,
Really? Oh man, did you hear that, bro?
Joe Shad with the question, bro.
Of course, Joe Shad is always concerned about Tua's concussions, and man, Chris Greer is like, no, I would, but he's not gonna go out and say it. He can't, because then you're doubting Tua. I mean, that's gonna
And
be
there's such a
straight.
big there's such a big script already on what they feel about Tua that you don't you notice that Chris Greer is always I always get the feeling that man's walking on eggshells when he's doing these interviews, bro.
He doesn't he look like he's like scared? Like he doesn't like he has to be very very cautious with what he says. Like, well, am I saying these things right? I gotta be very like you said. He's walking on eggshells. He's like, yo, I gotta be careful with what I say and how I say it because I don't want people to, take it the wrong way. So, but definitely he says nope, no, it does not affect the long term, the length, or the guarantee. So let's see what else he says.
it's again, every player deals with certain things, and even you've seen this year. Look at all the quarterback injuries around the league, and there's other quarterbacks or good players that have had multiple seasons of injuries too as well. So the one thing that Tua did is he attacked the offseason with wanting to prove that he could stay healthy and spending the time learning to fall and the jiu-jitsu and stuff, and it paid
They
off.
were.
Yeah, I don't.
It did.
It's kind of hard to hear what they're asking him.
Yeah, we'd love to have Baker here. I mean, I think the big thing for us was to have the new defensive staff come in, spend time watching the team, watching the defense as a staff together. And then once we have those discussions with the defensive staff, Mike and I will get together and then we'll make that decision here in the next couple of weeks.
What's some of the other injuries at linebacker, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb? What's their expectations for the beginning of the season to be back? And did those injuries
I doubt it.
affect or throw off your off-season plans?
I say December.
Well, it threw off the playoff plans, that's for sure. I said, losing guys like that late in the year is always hard. At the end of the day, we don't talk about the medical history or where guys are in terms of their rehab. I will say they're both in the building attacking it every day. So it's been
Phillips
good to
is
see
looking
those
really
guys
good,
and
actually.
support each other, working through it, as well as
He
all our other guys. We had a number of guys. I mean, of course, it makes it challenging because now, we have to have guys ready to go here, start a training camp and do it. And just the timing of the injuries were later, but they're working hard and hopefully we'll get them back at some point.
I want to get your thoughts on the decision for Xavier.
No, Xavier Howard.
Yeah,
no.
that was a tough one. Xavier and I had a long conversation because he was the second player I drafted here in 2016. And,
Wow.
he and I have been through a lot of stuff here. And we were just talking about how proud I was from his early when he first got here, some stuff he was doing behind the scenes to help himself become a better player. And then all the stuff he had done as a player and a leader helping us on the field. And so we had a long discussion and, he understood it was, a business decision. And at the end of the day, I just felt it was right for him to have this opportunity for his agent to go see, what's out there for him, but didn't close the door on us. We didn't. We said we're going to stay in communication and as the process goes and see what happens, and left the door open for him possibly coming back here too.
Well,
Love those political answers.
I like the fact that he did have a conversation with him and explained to him. He probably told him straight up, "Hey, look, I appreciate what you did, man. You were with us for what? I think he was with us for 8 years. So it's like we
And he
appreciate
structured his contract too a couple of times.
But at the same time, it's time to move on from him. And he basically just said it. He's like, yo, unfortunately, we got to go. Now, he does obviously, there's the little fluff that he puts on there saying, hey, there's a possibility of him, wanting to come back, the door is always open. But come on, man, you know Xavier Howard, he wants to get paid. He doesn't want to go and just not get paid either, you know. So
Mhm.
Kind of sticking on that sense of cornerbacks. We saw Jalen kind of suggest that last year did not go about what was expected. So I know Jalen was injured for half the first half of the season. But was that more or less what you guys expected when you brought him in, that outfit and how they were used with the advantage?
You know, I don't tell coaches how to how they should play guys. You know, we have discussions when we bring players on, and you always talk about what skill sets fit different guys. You know, Vic's a very good coach. Jalen's a great player. So at the end of the day, how players felt about different things, I wouldn't really know, and I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it. You know, and I also don't think it's fair to either one of them. Not knowing, I think that's something for you guys if you were to talk to each one.
kind of like a dumb
on the field,
question. Not too like that one.
But yeah, I thought the opportunity to have those two players together on the field, no matter what we're playing, made us a better team. And you know, when they're out there together, it showed. The defense is pretty good when they're playing out there together.
Chris, the three starting interior offensive line last year.
Oop, good question.
I would say it's a definite possibility. You know, we had some discussions with Robert's representation in the middle of the season, and completely respected his willingness to go to free agency. You know, and again, you guys, I say that term, but he'd earned the right. And I love Robert. He's a good kid.
I hate how he always uses that damn, you know, catchphrase saying, "Hey, he's earned the right." No, man. If he's your player, sign his ass, right?
He uses very weird context sometimes, you know, discussions, conversations, you know, has the right for everything. Like if he's reading a contract, bro.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's earned the right. Earned the right of what? He's a very good player. Sign his ass, you know? So it's like he always leaves the door open with these guys. I don't
Yep.
understand why. I'm gonna flash forward it a little bit. Let's see what else. See if they can ask another question. Let's see. He did talk about Connor Williams there. See what happens here. Let's see.
Rehab and focus and get his mind clear, and we're giving him that space. So we just told him there's no pressure on him, and he'll communicate, and him and his agent will communicate with us when it's appropriate.
And then they were asking a question about Teron Armstead here.
Yeah, no, Teron and I had a long conversation before he left for the Pro Bowl. And he said he wanted to be very fair to us, and I completely respect him because I think he's earned that right. So we just said we were going to talk before the start of the league year and free agency happened, and he was going to let us know plenty of time where it is, so it doesn't affect us. And but we're preparing either way, so you have to. But love Teron and would love to have him back. But listen, he's done so much in this league, and what he battled through last year to play for us, that very respectful and really appreciative of him saying that he was going to let us know well before free agency started, so we could plan.
That's a little bit of a concern right there, because I would have assumed he would have said, "Oh, you know," he would have revealed right there and then that Teron Armstead is going to stick around. But he still makes it seem like, hey, there's a possibility that Teron Armstead might retire.
Again, contract language, you know.
It's crazy. And this is the part where he's talking about you know, being ranked number 1 because of the facilities and all that stuff. So I want to kind of skip that. Let's see.
I was very excited for it because I know last year when we got number 2,
Yeah,
you know,
who cares about that?
Well, that just means that our culture in the building is
I
really
think
good.
It was ranked number 2, and now we're number 1. I mean, obviously,
It
congratulations.
shows
to
that
the
other
Dolphins.
players. It shows that other players can really fit in the culture and feel very welcomed. And I think that's what Mike McDaniel really does learn how to capture in each play.
It's important, but at the end of the day, nothing replaces field speed or play speed, because as you guys all said when we drafted,
This is a question about the draft, about, you know, the combine. If you see their 40 times, if you guys focus on it and whatnot.
the Jarvis Landry here years ago, everyone's like, how can you draft a 4.75 receiver? You know, and then he ends up with 1,000 yards. Good player. So I think nothing replaces that football speed and competitiveness. You know, everyone uses GPS times now and all that stuff, and we have programs that measure it. But at the end of the day, those things will help guide you. But again, like when you watch HN play, you see the speed.
You should bring back Juice, man.
You know, the combine here, it has its purposes. For me personally, I like it more just for the interaction with the players and getting to know the players.
Mike has often said,
because of the existence of GPS tracking, you know how fast the guy can move.
All right, I don't care about the fasting. Let's see.
This guy's here to compete. He's not worried about
They should ask him,
playoffs.
why haven't you brought him back, Juice?
Like Georgia last year. It was a shame what happened to Georgia, Florida State. You know, the Georgia kids, most of them played, you know, and the guys from Florida State didn't. And so for me, when I watch those guys, and you know, it's just a little more of a like, okay, this guy loves ball, and he's not worried about, you know, what the ramifications, which could be significant for some people. But at the end of the day, he's like, I love my teammates. These guys helped me get here, and I'm going to play. So I just put a little more stock in it. But I'm also not going to skip over an all-world talent because he didn't decide to play in the Mayo Bowl or something, you know. So
Mike has often talked about how great of a learner Tua is.
Oh,
He's good at stepping around him.
I'm
Curious looking back to when he was here and you were analyzing him then compared to now, especially after last season, how confident are you that he still has like exponential ability to grow?
Yeah, that's a good question because Mike and I had talked about that a lot, and
really,
and we're strong believers in him, and you guys all feel Mike's passionate about him when he talks about him, and just in the 2 years of what he's done, he's grown in areas and to where, you know, he led the league in passing and did some great things this year. And we all feel there's still another level that he can take it. And I think if you ask Tua, he would tell you that too. And so just his growth on and off the field, like being voted captain last year and then seeing how he is, you know, behind the scenes with guys and holding people accountable is huge. So I think the way he's attacked this and wants to be great, and the combination of Mike and working with that and that trust and belief in each other, we do think there's still another level.
So he thinks that there's another level for Tua, bro. You think he's at another level for Tua? I don't think so, bro. I think Tua's pretty much done.
Tough, man. It's tough.
He's confident that there's another level for Tua, bro. Let's see if we could fast forward a little bit here. Let's see what else. Let's try. Let's go because it's a long video. It's about 23 minutes. So let's push it a little bit here. Let's see what they talk about. It's talking about a little bit about Jalen Waddle. So let's see what they say.
We want him here for a long time, and we think he's a big part of our now and our future here. So he's a great person on and off the field, and we still think as good as he is, he still has runway to keep getting better.
And he's on a rookie deal. We're not gonna give him away.
Well, his rookie deal ends next year.
Yeah, no, I think we're very excited about Cam. You know, I think, you know, last preseason, you watch his preseason stuff. He played very well in the preseason.
Why didn't he play in the regular season?
Up at the end and came back, and you know, at the end of
the day, because he was chilling with Eli Apple.
Learning the big system early. Look at his history of guys, the young players. It takes a little bit, and so he worked hard. And by the end of the season, we are really excited about it. And talking to Jalen Ramsey the other day, he was saying how he loves Cam's game and thinks he's going to be a good player. So no, we're very strongly believe in him. I think last year was a couple of things. He, you know, got banged up a couple times, but contributed on special teams, did some good things. But I think I talked to him probably about 3-4 weeks ago and called him at like 8:30 in the morning, and he was in the middle of a workout session. So he's attacking.
That's good to hear.
So we're all very excited to see him.
But yet the party animal was Jalen Waddle, and not Jalen Waddle. The party animal was Eli Apple, and Vic Fangio allowed him to play.
To play, but he's gonna have to compete and earn it. You know, Cater's not gonna give it up.
Sir, Eli Apple was in the AFC Championship game the year before.
Good, and then obviously we'll be bringing in some other people here too, and
who we're bringing in? Who knows? And maybe X6 back. Yeah, get out of here, bro. Wishful thinking.
That guy, bro.
He's gonna say good things about X. That was his second pick
Yeah, we were made
GM.
aware of it. We were in communication with NFL security, so really can't comment on any of that till all that stuff gets. We get all our information and find out what happened. But for us, Tyreek has been a good addition for us, and but in terms of all the off-field stuff, we'll have to get all the information before we can really comment on it.
Chris, you mentioned a little earlier about the timeline for Tua. Have you guys talked about what it would be if there was no deal about the start of camp for the season?
Okay.
Yeah, his confidence.
Give him the tough question about Tua right here.
Security.
Yeah, no, I think everyone, if we can do something, would like it done before the season. But you've seen over the last few years, some of these other big deals have been done, have gone all the way into training camp. Because there are complicated deals to put together with the money and stuff people are talking about. So, I think Tua's a professional. I think he loves his teammates. He loves Mike. But again, players have the right to do whatever they do at that point in the spring. But we'd anticipate him being here, being around as we work through it, and like I said, we're in communication with his agent.
All right, not bad right there. Pretty good. So that was Chris Greer press conference. What was your take, sir? What do you think about that?
Very careful. There's still a lot to work to be done, but hey, there hasn't been any progress. He didn't even say how deep they're in when it comes to any other contracts. There's just been the key words: discussions, conversations. However, they have all the right to get the hell out if they want to.
Chris Greer, he's not gonna go ahead and reveal too much.
Mike McDaniel, on the other hand, sometimes like to ramble, and then he says a little too much.
Yeah. But I think the thing about the only one that usually was kind of like blunt and would say whatever was in his mind was Vic Fangio. So now we don't have him. So now we're gonna get a little fluff here and there from these guys. So, I mean, what I took from the interview was that they want to re-sign obviously to it before hopefully the off season. I mean, during this off season before training camp. I also got the vibe that they mentioned Christian Wilkins' door is not closed, and neither is Xavier Howard's door is not closed either. Although we all agree that keeping Xavier Howard or bringing him back and keeping Christian Wilkins is going to take a miracle. So,
definitely, especially when we need other needs.
Yeah, man. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next time we're hopefully it would be well. Actually, hold on a second. So next show that we have is actually March 6th. So by next week, we'll find out. So next week, we'll be able to find out if Christian Wilkins got franchise tag or not. All right, let's jump on to the Miami Heat segment, ladies and gentlemen. And the Miami Heat riding high, baby. Big wins the last couple of games. They had a big win yesterday at Portland. They got back Terry Rozier. Rozier did really well. I was impressed with Terry Rozier. Actually, he stepped it up. And the Heat were able to pull off that win, 106-96. They started off kind of shaky. They were down by a big. They were almost down by like 20
down
points.
by like 15. It was like 23 to like 10 or something like that, or 25-10. I'm sorry, 25-10. And then the Heat picked it up in the second quarter. But I mean, come on, you had Jimmy. He was out, and Scary Terry was out for a couple of games, and so
hold on a second.
And so it was pretty tough for. Well, my brother goes through some technical issues. It just shows you that he had to have a little bit of a slow start. However, they picked it up. They continue where they started off at, and big contributions again from K Love, big contributions from Duncan Robinson. He's been playing pretty well lately as well. He's been versatile. If he can't shoot well, he's been assisting in the 10 assist game 2 days ago. If he is not assisting, it's because he's shooting really well from the 3-pointer. And so Jaime Jaquez has been coming in really, really well. And Bam Adebayo, I got to give it to you, man. Bam Adebayo is looking a little different now this year. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with Bam Bam, but Bam Bam, he's taking that jersey seriously with that Heat culture, man. I don't know. There's something, Frank. I don't know if it's just me, but these past 2 games.
Yes, but okay. You know what's funny? I actually got that vibe too. That the last 2 games he stepped it up.
He took
But
over, bro.
but will he continue? That's the question.
I mean, I think so. I think he's realized, look, it's time for me. They they're realizing that Bam, or he's realizing that they need him to do more than just the blocking, the edging out the players, boxing them out, creating plays, stopping plays. I think he's finally realized, hey, I need to shoot the ball more. And he's been shooting the ball a lot more. And I like that little in and out fader that he does on the free throw line, like that 12, 13 footer. And so Bam has been playing really well. The only thing that will stop us, Frank, honestly, is two things: injuries, and pretty much if I don't know something. I don't see anything else. Probably just injuries, to be honest with
Yeah, and I'm sorry, guys, if you see my light changing. It's just my light switch had gone out. It ran out of battery, so I had to connect it for a minute, and now it's back on. So I had to reset it. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think injuries is the biggest concern for the Miami Heat. For a minute there, Kevin Love almost tweaked his ankle too, so
you.
that was
Yeah,
a little bit scary. But he was able to come back, and Kevin Love has been contributing. Duncan Robinson has been having a couple of really good games. And even Nikolai had 8 points last night. Jimmy Butler obviously took over, and we lost against Tyler Hero, man, and that's the only downfall that I see from the Miami Heat. I mean, I honestly feel that the Miami Heat they need to get rid of him, man. Like, obviously the trade deadline already passed, but for next season they need to find a way to trade his ass because that guy can't just stay healthy, bro, and it sucks, man.
and we already know what he brings to the table. Just save him, bro. Just limit his playing right now. Play him one game, play him not. I know it sucks, but at this point, we're winning without him. Man, I just wish we had gotten a bigger player, man. Can you imagine if we had like a Vujicic or like a Drummond type of player? Man,
I
it would
think
be
the
so good.
problem I think the problem with Tyler Hero is that Tyler Hero, he has when he's ready and he's healthy, he's going to try to come back no matter what because he needs to make sure that people still see him and see what he brings to the table. Because if you sit him on the bench, then he's not going to be able to showcase. And he wants more money. He wants to be the superstar. You could tell, and he's not a bad player. He's
Well,
just not the answer for the Heat. He's a
I
good role player, in my opinion, because you can't trust him because he gets injured.
I guess my second reason, aside from the injuries, was will this team play well together? I don't know if you've noticed, but every time one of our key players goes down, the other one has to step up, and then there's like this groove going on for the Heat. But when you look at when they were all together for like about 10 games, they lost like 8 of them,
Yeah.
and so that's where it gets a little bit like I wonder if it's just something that was just a bad streak going on during the season. It's very impressive what the Heat are doing, especially on the road. They have a really good road record. I think they're like 16 and like 11 or 12 or something like that. And so it's pretty good. And home is also above 500. And so the Heat jumped. They were, I think, in the seventh seed, and now they're in the fourth or fifth actually. So
Really? That's how high they went in the standings?
they leaped New York, I believe.
Let's see.
And right now it's pretty close though, because I know Pacers are a game
So
behind.
Miami's fifth. They're fifth. So they jumped Philly and they jumped Magic and the Pacers. So they have one extra loss to the Knicks. So they're a game behind from the Knicks.
And they have
A
the
game and a
second
half.
big and they have the second supposedly from articles I read, they have the second easiest schedule coming up for the Heat. So
Wow,
they
that's
should
good.
capitalize this. They should capitalize this.
I mean, the two hottest team on the East right now, you would have to say is Miami. They're on a 5-game win streak, and then of course the Boston Celtics. They're riding high with a 9-game win streak. So
But you know them. They always do well in the season, and then when it comes to the playoffs, it starts to get shaky.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, absolutely. After that, we gotta see what the Miami Heat are able to do. I'm excited to see what they've been doing recently. I hope Bam keeps up. I mean, if Bam keeps up, I think Miami has a really good shot. I mean, we got a big test tomorrow. We go against the Denver Nuggets, so that's gonna be a tough game, and it's at Denver because we're still in that West Coast. You know,
But Denver plays today, so they're gonna be on a back-to-back tomorrow.
Okay, so we might have a chance, but again, this is the game that you saw Bam do really well against Portland, and you saw Bam do really well against the Sacramento Kings. Now we're talking the Nuggets. So here's Nikolai, not Nikolai, Jovic, going ahead and he
Joker.
needs the Joker is gonna be like all over this game. And now, can Bam still deliver? Can he still do what he needs to do in order for him to be successful? How he's been the last couple of games, you know. So Jovic is going to be a tough test for Bam, and this is where we need Bam to continue. You know, we don't want these little one hit stings. You know, he did okay here, he did okay there, and then all of a sudden he starts to go down again. I mean, he had 13 points yesterday and 9 rebounds. He almost had a double double, but you could tell, you know, that he was taking like leadership, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go for it." You know, so that's why you're getting like a different view of Bam, but we need that to be consistent. That's the only thing that scares me when it comes to him, the consistency. So,
Definitely.
all right, man. So then the last topic that we're gonna go ahead and speak about, of course, is soccer. And in soccer, before we jump into our soccer segment, I want to go ahead and voice out my opinion. So now, ladies and
Ooh,
gentlemen, is that time for, of course, speak the unspoken moment here in
let's go.
the podcast.
Let's
And
go.
yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. And my rant today is about Inter Miami. And this is the reason why my rant is going to be on Inter Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go ahead and tell you something. I keep hearing people saying that Luis Suarez is not the right person to be starting in the starting lineup for your Inter Miami team, and that Campana should be the guy that should have the starting position in your Inter Miami team. I'm going to tell you something, guys. In 33 matches of that Luis Suarez has done, this guy has in 2023 he had 17 goals. He has done a really good job when he was in Gremio last year. In For Copa do Brasil, he had 2 goals in 8 matches. In For Uruguay, he had and last year he didn't compete as much, but 2020 he had 14 matches and he had 8 goals. Luis Suarez, if in Gremio, which was last year, besides the 17 goals, he had 11 assists. And this is in 33 matches from Luis Suarez. I don't care what people think. I don't care what anybody is going to go ahead and say. Campana, no, I don't want to insult Campana, but a one-legged Luis Suarez is way, way more better than a Campana. A one-legged Suarez delivers, where a Campana sucks. I mean, Campana in 26 games had 9 goals and 3 assists. 26 games, he had 9 goals and 3 assists. This guy had 17 goals and 11 assists. We're talking about a difference of 7 games, and he had way more assists, way more goals than Campana. And let me talk to you right here. The year before, every year he's after he 2023. If you guys think that he was better, he actually did worse. In 2022, Campana had 11 goals and 1 assist. So he had 2 less goals last year. He had 2 extra assists last year, but he hasn't been doing anything. Not a single thing. And I also want to go ahead and mention, and I know people have spoken to me and have said some things that I don't agree with, but people say I don't care about how what Campana does outside of Inter Miami. Of course, you want to care what he does outside of Miami. Why? Because when a player is actually working and doing his stuff and is being productive in his team, the national team tends to pick you up, because now all of a sudden you are showing your national squad, hey, this guy is a key role player for us to be successful in the World Cup, in the Copa America, in any of these tournaments. You need to keep an eye on that stuff. So somebody or anybody going ahead and saying, "Oh, who cares about what he does outside of Inter Miami?" Absolutely not. You need to make sure that he delivers in Inter Miami, and if he gets called up by his national team, that means that he is doing something for Inter Miami. Right now, he hasn't done anything. He's a decent player, but keep in mind he's from Ecuador. So Ecuador, I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not the greatest, but they're not the worst either. But you can't even crack their national team, and you want him to start over Luis Suarez. And keep in mind, this is only the second game, guys. Why is fans of Inter Miami already doubting Luis Suarez? Why do you think? Why are you assuming that Luis Suarez is not gonna get in his groove and gonna start scoring goals? Luis Suarez was brought here for a reason. The guy still can play. The guy has the talent. The guy knows the system. The guy knows how to work with Messi, Jordi Alba. If you look at those games, he was there. He had an assist in the first game, and you guys already want him out of here and you want to put him on the bench? Go kick rocks. Inter Miami, stick with Luis Suarez. Keep Campana on the bench. You could bring Campana in the second half. You can play him for the last 20 minutes if that's what you want, but keep Luis Suarez. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Speak the Unspoken.
Ooh,
Talk to me, Nick.
wow.
Do you agree with me, man? Do you agree that Luis Suarez should stay on the field and Campana should ride that bench and then just bring him in the second half?
Um, yeah, I I feel Suarez, even though he's at his later stages of his career, he's still a very productive football player. He has great chem with, all his teammates, especially with Messi. And this is just the second game of the season. Things are gonna get better. I'm liking what Chandler is doing as a goalkeeper. By the way, he's been playing phenomenal. And yeah, look, you threw in the stats and they don't lie. 17 goals and 11 assists. That's 18 goal contributions. And so, I'm sorry, 28 goal contributions. And so, if you can contribute into 28 goals and Gremio, which is a very, very, very talented league, um, you know, how are you not gonna expect Suarez to bring the same production to MLS? And expectations are high right now, Frank. Let's keep it real. Having Messi and company, having those teammates do bring in a lot of expectations. And
Well,
so
a lot of people.
hopefully Suarez backs it up. Maybe I just feel like I just feel like Suarez doesn't look too in sync. I think it's because he kind of eased off on the pedal a little bit. But he's gonna get into fitness. I think he's gonna
Of
get into
course.
fitness.
And I just don't understand. You know, people saw the LA Galaxy game and it was 1-1. Yeah. LA Galaxy dominated them. They dominated us for the most part. But when you look at the domination, it's mostly because the defense struggles. So you need the defense to step it up, and that's why Calendar's done a phenomenal job. He had that penalty block and everything. So,
Yeah, he's blocking crazy.
but you want to criticize Luis Suarez because he's not producing. You want to sit him out already and all that stuff. I mean, if you're gonna sit out Luis Suarez, then how about you sit out Messi? Have you seen how Messi's been playing? I mean, yeah, he scored the goal, but if you look at the whole 90 minutes of the game, you see Messi walking. Like he's not trotting back down to defend, to help defend. You don't see that. You see that from Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez has gone back down there to go help defend. Watch the game. He actually did do it, but Messi didn't. So, like, if you're gonna go ahead and criticize Luis Suarez, then how about you look also at Messi? Because honestly, I know Messi at the end of the day is Messi, right? He could do whatever he wants on the field, but that hurts us. It hurts us because we don't have a very, very good, talented defense. So you need to come and help in the back. If you can't help in the back, they're gonna score on us and we're gonna lose.
How do you feel about just limiting Suarez to be playing just season? Because you know how there's U.S. Cup, there's CONCACAF Champions League, and so how do you feel about Suarez having that role of just a season guy? Hey, let's just take him to the season, and then we'll have Campana doing everything else.
I think they're gonna have to do that, and I think they're gonna have to do that with Messi as well, because these guys are in their upper edge of their career. They're more towards the end of their career. So now they don't have that much left in their career. So you have to kind of pull a Kawhi Leonard and kind of manage their games and manage their time. It's the only way you're going to be able to survive a grueling season. There is so many tournaments. I mean, they just finished coming from a world tour. Like you're asking too much from these guys. And I'm going to be real honest with you. If there's one person I want to criticize that I think has not performed to the level that I thought he was going to perform. And every time I see him, I feel like, bro, he's kind of letting me down. It's Sergio Busquets. I think Sergio Busquets it's not playing really good soccer. I think he's doing a very poor job out there. I feel like he He doesn't defend as well. He gives the ball up. He loses the ball a lot of times. Like it's so many different things from him that it really kind of puts a concern. I mean, look at Jordi Alba, man. Jordi Alba's look, man. I don't like Barca, but hands down, Jordi Alba was a beast in Barca, and Jordi Alba's still a beast in Inter Miami. That
Yep.
mother skunk was running his ass off. He
Mhm.
was crossing. He was doing everything, bro. What a
He's
freaking
the
sign that has been,
he was the assister for the goal.
bro. Jordi Alba, man, hands down, Jordi Alba, a beast out there, man. I am proud of Jordi Alba, and he was getting into Tata's face and telling Tata, "Yo, man, the hell out of here, bro. We need to push. Just needs to get. We can't be sitting back and defending. What is this crap?" So at the end of the day, man, I'm a little bit disappointed with Sergio Busquets. I expected more from him. And yeah, high expectation on Inter Miami. I know it's only the 2 game. I'm not gonna panic. But I am gonna go ahead and say I think the fans need to calm down. They need to realize that Luis Suarez is gonna get in a groove. And once he gets in his groove, the guy's gonna score. It's gonna happen. It's gonna I
And I
look,
don't see him. And to be honest with you, I know this might hurt your argument, but I don't see Suarez either being in the Uruguay League national team for La Copa America. I really don't,
I well
because they
remember
have this guy from Liverpool,
Darwin Nunez.
Darwin Nunez,
Mhm.
and they have a couple of other players that can play the forward position, and so I don't
The
really
only
see Suarez, and I'm kind of glad that's happening because that helps Inter Miami know, hey, okay, we'll have him in case Messi does get injured during his competition, because for sure Messi's gonna go. I wish Messi just stay, just stay, bro. You don't gotta do anything in Argentina. Just go and stay over there. You don't gotta come to the Copa America. You feel me?
I agree.
But you know you never know what might happen, right? But overall, I think Suarez is, and that's just an opinion of mine. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like
I
they're not gonna bring him anytime soon
That's a
anymore.
very good point of view. I don't think they're gonna bring him in the national team because they had not brought him in some of the qualifications for the World Cup. And if they did bring him, they left him on the bench. So that means he wasn't going ahead and killing himself. On the other half, when you have Messi, Messi's actually playing in these matches. So
Yeah.
by the time he comes back to Inter Miami, his body's still taking a beating because
Hmm.
he never got a break. So
Yep.
you need to rely heavily on Luis Suarez, and he's our number 9. He's our goal scorer. So I don't want people to assume, hey, just dump him in the bench. Nah, man, this guy, and people are saying he's playing injured or let him recover. I, m- the only
I
person
don't think he's injured.
the only person that can go ahead and make that decision whether they want to be out there or not, or whether they can go or not give it a go, is themselves. You understand me? And if Luis Suarez feels he's capable enough to go ahead out there and play and contribute to his team, then he'll do it. I mean, he's a competitor, man. This guy is not a joke. This guy has had a hell of a career. So,
Yeah. I mean,
and if
3 years ago he won Atletico Madrid in La Liga. I mean,
3 years ago, dude.
yeah, this happened 3 years ago.
Now people are asking to bench him because they feel like he's injured. I don't think he's injured, man.
I
I
can
think
bring up the stats. Those stats were crazy. Yeah, he won. Let me see.
3 years ago, dude. 3 years ago? Are you kidding me? Come
Yeah,
on, man.
actually, yeah, 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? Yeah.
Atletico Madrid, I have his stats. It was in 2020, so 4 years ago. He
4
had
years.
21 goals and 3 assists in 32 matches in La Liga. And in 2021, he had 35 matches, 11 goals and 2 assists.
He
So
digressed a little bit, but he did what he had to do.
tell me if Campana could have done that in La Liga. Come on, man. I mean, what Campana? Where has Campana played? So Campana played. Hold on, he played for Ecuador. He played for a Swiss team called the Grasshoppers. Wow. He played for a league. He played for a team in Portugal, Famalicão. He played for. This guy played for Barca. He was in Barcelona at one point.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in the academy.
Yeah, Liga Pro. Is that the academy? It's Barcelona FC.
SC, yeah,
That
academy.
must be their academy. And then he did play. Look at this. This is why I get like you guys, man. Come on, man. How are you guys gonna? He was in the under 22 for Ecuador. He played 4 matches. He scored 1 goal. He played under 20 World Cup for Ecuador. He played 7 matches and he scored nothing. How in God green earth are people saying, "Yo, play this guy in front of Luis Suarez"? You gotta be shitting me, bro. I'm sorry, dude. I like I said, I rather see if Suarez is actually hurt, I rather see Suarez play on one leg than Campana because he's gonna
Now,
bring more to the table.
let me ask you: in 10 games, he's only done 2 goals and 1 assist, or 2 goals. Let's say two. Let's say 3 goals and 1 assist in 10 games. Would you feel like, all right, it's time to see what we can do?
If in a span of 10 games, Luis Suarez has only scored 2 goals and he'll have like 1 assist or 2 assists or some shit like that, I would go ahead and still start him, but I would bring Campana or another offensive player sooner to the field. So instead of bringing Campana in minute 80, I would bring him in minute 50, minute 60, maybe bring him in the second half. I would do
Oh,
that.
super sub. So he's gonna be called now Super Sub Campana.
But keep in mind, I'm not gonna go ahead and lose and give up his spot unless I see that the person who's being subbed in for him is actually showing that he's doing a lot better than
Makes
he
sense.
is. You feel me? So if Suarez has 2 goals and 2 assists in 10 games, and then you put in Campana and you're putting Campana, and Campana hasn't scored a single damn goal or has 1 goal and like no assists or something like that, does it really mean Campana should actually go ahead and be ahead of Luis Suarez? No. I don't think so. Or maybe what you could do is for like the shittier games, maybe you put Campana in there. Maybe you see, okay, let's test him with a shitty team and let's see how Inter Miami does. And if he can't do anything out there, then that just proves my point. Hey, look, we can't move on from Luis Suarez. That's why you brought him, bro. If you felt that Campana was the answer for Inter Miami when it comes to the number 9 spot, then you never would have brought in Luis Suarez in the first place. That's the reality of the truth. We struggled
Oh,
scoring.
100%. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just I'm astonished as to how many people feel that
Will
Suarez should
will Luis
ride the bench.
Suarez will Luis Suarez do more than what Higuain did in his debut?
So what was Higuain's stats when he came to Miami? I could look this
The
up.
first year, I think he had like 11 goals. I remember one. I think the first season he had like an 11 goal streak, something like
Okay, so check this out. So I pulled up his stats. So in 2020, which was his first year, he only played 9 matches. He scored 1 goal and he had 2 assists, which is kind of like what we're talking about. Hey, maybe Luis Suarez in 10 games only scores 2 goals or 1 goal and has an assist here and there. Then in 2021, he had 30 matches. He had 12 goals and 7 assists. So that was decent. That wasn't bad. And then he actually did better the follow his last season. 29 matches, he scored 16 times and he was able to contribute 3 assists. So at the end of the day, he was improving as the time went on. Like it wasn't bad. And I always felt that Iguain and before I go a little bit more in depth with Iguain, keep in mind this was the Iguain that was playing without a Messi. This was an Iguain that was playing with a lot less talented Inter Miami team, and he was, carrying Inter Miami, especially that last season when that 2022 season, Inter Miami picked up that what was that kid that they picked up that he was
from
really really
Toronto.
yeah, they picked up that kid. I'm trying to see let me see roster. I forgot his name. And he was the difference that year for that Inter Miami team in that 20 was it 2022? I think it was 2022. Damn, I forgot his name. If I could pull it up. Let's see. They had picked up damn it. You know what? Let me see. Inter Miami roster had brought in that kid from
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The kid that had like that year that he won the MVP or whatever.
yeah, that he became like Higuain's like back to back. Like they were doing a hell of a job together, and that's when Inter Miami actually did a pretty good job in their actual, and they actually made the playoffs that year, right? That was the year that they actually made the playoffs, and then they were able to go ahead and I think they lost in the first round. Yeah, it was kind of like the plane, I believe, that they had to go on the road.
Alejandro
Remember?
Busuelo.
Yeah, that was Busuelo. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
Busuelo, Alejandro Busuelo. There you go. That guy. When he was on the team,
he's playing for
he
the he's playing for the United Emirates Pro League now.
I mean, he wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Um, is it Busuelo? How do you spell his last name?
Pozuelo. Oh,
Oh, Alejandro Pozuelo. Yeah, that was him. Yeah, Alejandro Pozuelo. He is. And look, he's only 32 years old. He was good. He was a baller when he was here with Higuain. He actually made Inter Miami way better. In 13 games, that guy had 2 goals and 4 assists. That guy was good, bro. That guy was not bad, and he made Higuain way better. So, imagínate. That's why, like, bro, people need to pump the brakes, bro. Give Suarez some time; he'll make it happen. If you want to be worried about somebody's injury, worry about Messi's injury because, like I said, he doesn't run all the time. Messi's sitting back, and like standing in the he stays in the front. He never goes back to help. So who knows if he's playing with injuries? That could be a concern.
the same way he's playing Inter Miami, all laid back and chill, is the same way I hope he plays in La Copa America. Lay back and chill, bro. Sit back and relax. Do what you got to do with your teammates. Just cruise. Just cruise in that tournament. Just cruise in that tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, speaking about Copa America, the tickets did go on sale. So if you guys are interested in Copa America tickets, definitely visit their Instagram page or let's go to their website. They have the tickets on sale for the whole, like for the general public now. So if you want to go to a Copa America game, um, hey man, the opportunity is there. I did look at some tickets to see the ones that were here in Miami. The Argentina game was very expensive. I mean,
Too
to get in,
expensive.
it was like $300. And then if you wanted to see the Uruguay game, that was a little bit more, flexible. That one was you could get lower seat tickets for like somewhere around the mid 150, 140. So that wasn't bad. But that Argentina game, man, screw that, bro. That's too much money, bro. That's just me.
I was looking at the Chile game in Orlando, and they were going for like about 60, $70.
Yeah, those are reasonable prices. Let's keep it real. They actually did a pretty decent job with the prices. Obviously, Argentina, I mean, I guess they're trying to milk Messi, obviously. But also keep in mind, you're gonna have like a kind of like this is kind of gonna show us what might be the prices in 2 years for the World Cup. So there might not be as expensive as like a Super Bowl ticket. So that's
It
the
all
only
depends on
thing
how
that I was
Copa America does.
true. And if they're and their sales, because if they're able to find people to get, if people buy tickets to go to these games, then I think they could do a really good job. I think moving forward, Copa America should have Concacaf involved in it every freaking tournament. It just makes sense, bro. It's more money. It's just profitable, and not only that, you get the talent. You're gonna get better. The United States gets better, Mexico gets better, and then even those lower teams in Comebol get better. Bolivia, Venezuela.
I
You
mean,
test.
America's making a bunch of money. I mean, they're hosting the CONCACAF Gold Cup for the women, and so it's it's making them even more money.
Yeah, and then keep in mind we have right now the Copa America for this year, right? Then we have the what is that? La Copa that cup that it's like that mid cup in the middle
Yeah, the
between the
FIFA
World Cup.
World Cup.
Not the FIFA, not the World Cup. There's
No, no,
one in
yeah, the
between.
FIFA Cup. The FIFA Cup.
Yeah, so you have 3 different tournaments that are taking place here in the United States. The Copa America, that FIFA Cup that they're doing, and then obviously the World Cup.
Yep.
So a lot of soccer for all of us here in the United States. But yeah, man, after that, man, I want to go ahead and we're obviously gonna end the show. I want to thank everybody who joined us. Obviously, Sean, Memo, Josh, Chad also was on the board. Everybody who also went on Twitch and who's watching us and listening to us on X. We really do appreciate it. Nick, any last words before we head on out?
I just want to again thank everyone who tuned in tonight's show. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and follow button. And you know me, Fresco, I like to end my day with a quote. This quote's from Barack Obama. He said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time." And I think that's something very, 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 very impactful that everyone should listen to. When you feel like in your gut that you have something you want to change, you have any discipline that you want to add to your life, you want to add some sort of good habits and eliminate bad habits, don't wait for someone to tell you what to do, and don't wait for the perfect time. Just do it. Take ownership, take initiative. Trust me, you'll do good.
Very nice. I like it. I like it. I do want to go ahead and say, don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms, Fresco Music. I also want to go ahead and say that I will be making again my DJ return to Twitch. I'm gonna try to give it a go on Twitch right after the show. So maybe in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I will make my way over to Twitch. So as you can see right there on the bottom, check me out under the name Fresco Music _ DJ. That's my Twitch tag. So if you want to go ahead and listen to some vibes, I will be on hopefully at least for an hour, maybe 2 hours. It just depends. This time, obviously, we did the podcast show, and now I'm transitioning over to the DJ type of show I'm gonna do there. So just playing good music and have everybody, just come along and enjoy. I haven't DJ'd on Twitch in a while, so it's gonna be fun. And then obviously there might be some surprises for next week. So there might be a surprise pop-up with a surprise guest. So we will see. We will see. But Nick, thank you so much again, man, for being
Thank
with
you,
us.
brother.
Once again, everybody who joined us on the chat, on YouTube, on Twitch, on X, we really appreciate it. Next week we move on to episode 17.
Wow.
So for all of us here at Let Me Talk to You podcast, we will see you next week. And hey, go Dolphins, go Heat, go Panthers, all the Miami teams. Let's go.
Let me talk to you. The biggest icon in wrestling.